Hello everyone, I'm Lee Fuge and I'm here today with licklibrary.com, and in this video we're going to talk about 5 reasons why you should start writing your own songs. So in this video we're going to talk about 5 individual reasons why writing your own songs is incredibly beneficial to you as a guitar player and a musician. We're going to talk about some different ways you can apply and put theory into practice. We're going to talk about creative mindsets, emotional reasons for writing songs, and more. All 5 of these reasons are linked down below in the timestamps in the description of this video. So let's just get straight in to reason number 1. Reason number 1 is that it allows you to put music theory into practice. So as guitar players, we all spend a lot of time learning theory, whether that's chord theory, chord progression theory, scale theory, or any other type of theory we may learn. Writing our own songs actually allows us to take this information, and instead of thinking about it as just a series of facts, we can actually translate this into a practical thing, which is a song. So the little piece you heard me play in the intro there, I was just using a G, a C, and a D chord. That puts that in the key of G major. So already we're talking about a little bit of theory there. So if you know your G major scale, and you also know the 7 chord types associated with each note of that major scale: G, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, and F sharp diminished, we can use that alone as a template to write songs. So what you heard me play in the intro there was the G, C, and D chords, which is the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th chords of the progression. Now, when you learn chord progression theory, you may see chord progressions written down as a series of numbers. So a progression like that would be known as a 1, 4, 5. Now, on paper, that may just be a series of numbers to you, especially if you're new to learning theory. One of the hardest things that most guitar players have to deal with in the early stages of their progression and their playing is finding a practical use for theory. Theory can sometimes just be a bunch of ideas and information on the page, and sometimes it's really hard to get creative with that. Writing songs actually allows us to take that music theory and put it into practice, like I did there. I did the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th chords of the key, which gave me the little progression you heard at the start. What if I changed that now to the 1st, the 3rd, and the 4th, which would be G, B minor, and C. That would give me a slightly different progression. So not only does actually writing songs with the theory that we've learnt actually allow us to put that theory into practice, but the theory also speeds up the process of songwriting, because what that means is that I'm no longer guessing what chords are going to work together. I have my major key. I have all 7 chords of that major key. Now I just need to come up with something cool to put them all together. This also works for minor keys and any other variation of chord progression you want. If you're writing a modal chord progression as you go deeper into your theory journey, the same rules will apply. Reason number 2 is that it works on your creative brain. So this kind of backs on to reason number 1. Reason number 1 was that we can basically take the theory that we've learned and put that into practice. Reason number 2 is sort of an extension of this, because now that we're putting that theory into practice by actually using that information to essentially build chord progressions, now we need to use our creative brain to come up with something interesting. So this is where you get to make your decisions about rhythm, about chord choices. What chords do you want to hear flowing into each other? Because we're using what is essentially a formula that theory has presented us, we can't really go wrong. As long as we're sticking to those 7 chords, we can essentially write whatever we want, because we've got the framework there to string chords together and they will always harmonically fit together. Now it's down to you to come up with something interesting with that. So how are you going to approach that? Are you going to pick 3 chords and strum them? Are you going to arpeggiate the chords and pick through the chords? Or are you going to add some embellishments to the chords? So this is where it's up to you on how you're going to approach this. Let's just take 3 chords once more. Let's just take the G, the B minor, and the C again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play them in 3 different ways. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play them strummed. When you're being creative, you can then become more technical as you advance as a player. So I could now start arpeggiating those chords. And if I want to take that up another level, I can start adding some chordal embellishments. Now, on a technical level, this is slightly harder. So if you're a new player, this is something you may not be able to do just yet. But this is where you can really push the limits of your creative brain. So you can hear that third chord progression was much more difficult than the first. So we can really push the limits of what we want to do creatively just by unlocking our creative brain. But getting into songwriting allows you to start doing that. There are many more things we can do, such as chord inversions and playing chords in alternate voices as well. So as you progress as a player, your creativity will unlock further and allow you to explore more options. But getting into writing your own songs is a great way to start this process. Reason number 3 is that it allows you to express things that you may not be able to say on a day-to-day basis. Now, many songwriters, some of our favorite songwriters, mine and yours included, will do this. They will write songs to connect with people. You probably have a favorite song that speaks to you in a way that only you really understand. Now, put yourself in the songwriter's perspective. If you have something that you're trying to say, you can use songwriting to help you get that out. Now, obviously, this is also kind of tied in to the creative part of this, where we mentioned your creative brain. The more you unlock your creative brain, the more it allows your sense of expression to come through. So in the early days, maybe your 3-chord songs will convey a basic message. But as you become more confident and skilled as a songwriter, you will then be able to go deeper and express things further. This also does tie into the creative brain part because the chord choices we use can also convey emotion. So if we're writing with a G major, a C major, and a D major, that will convey a certain emotion. But if we change those chords to major 7 voicings, which you may not know at this point, but you will learn those in time, that's going to give the chord progression a very different feel, therefore conjuring up a different emotion. So songwriting is a great way to essentially speak without speaking. It's a great way to allow yourself to say things in the form of song. Reason number 4 is another creative reason, and this is that it helps your sense of melody improve. When you start playing, you may have a very basic sense of melody in your mind. So when you write your 3 chords, you may be coming up with vocal lines over the top, or even lead guitar parts or guitar solos to complement that chord progression. Now, in the early stages of your playing and your writing, you may be quite limited in what you can imagine, but again, with the creative brain, the further we go and the more we unlock it, the deeper we get and the more advanced it gets. So with melodies, we can then start thinking about all these different things from really basic scales right up to more advanced scales. In the early stages of songwriting and putting together lead lines and melodies over the top, you're probably going to be sticking to really basic things like major scales, minor scales, pentatonics, pretty basic scale shapes. But then the deeper you go into this and your sense of melody improves, you'll start exploring modal scales and more advanced scales. And then you'll start doing things like targeting specific notes within chords or changing the scale to fit the chord underneath. There are many different ways you can do this, and each one just unlocks another level of creativity, expressiveness, and melody in your playing. So these 3 reasons are all slightly interlinked because as each one grows, the next one grows with it. But writing your own songs is a great way to develop your own sense of melody. It's also great for your lead guitar phrasing, which does also fit in the camp of melody. So let's say you've written your chord progression now. Doesn't matter how easy or difficult the progression is, but let's say you've written it. Now you're playing your guitar solo over the top. Your phrasing is not the notes you do choose to play, but it's how you choose to play them. In the early days, like I said, you may be quite limited, but doing this over and over again, your phrasing will develop and it will allow you to create different phrases on the guitar, whether that's technically different, as in you want to play faster and cleaner and more accurate, or you want your phrases to be more vocal-like. These will develop in time by doing this over and over again. And the fifth and final reason why you should start writing your own songs is fun. Fun is a very important word as a guitar player, and it's something that we all lose sight of at some point. When we start playing the guitar for the very first time, the whole reason we pick the guitar up is to enjoy ourselves, whether that's learning people's songs for the fun of progressing or being creative, or maybe you even want to play in a band yourself. We always do things for fun. As we work hard at something, whether that's, our technique, our songwriting craft, whether you're in a band and you're really pushing it hard and gigging loads and touring loads to get to that next level, we sometimes lose sight of the fun because of the hard work. But sometimes it's good to come right back to that start and just remember why we started doing this in the first place. And that is fun and enjoyment. So songwriting should be fun. Whether you're writing songs for yourself that are just 3-chord songs for you to strum along with in your own time and just enjoy, or whether you're crafting songs to play with your friends, take them out on the road and go for your big hit, it should still be a fun process. So throughout all of this, no matter how hard you work at developing your songwriting craft, don't lose sight of it being fun. Thank you all so much for watching this video on 5 reasons why you should start writing your own songs. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope some of these reasons have given you some value and you can put these into your own songwriting practice. If you want to check out more free guitar lesson videos just like this one, don't forget to subscribe to the Lick Library YouTube channel as well. If there are any reasons you have for why you should start writing your own songs that you think I might have missed off this list, please put those down below in the comments as well, because I'd love to hear your own reasons why writing your own songs is a great thing to do. There's also a huge library of content to help you improve your playing over at licklibrary.com. So go check out the links down below in the description and see what you can do to take your playing to that next level. There are album breakdowns, song breakdowns, and videos that go in depth about the styles of some of the world's greatest guitar players. Go check the links out down below in the description, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks so much for watching.